What's up everybody, Danny's here, and in this video, I'd like to talk about what retro games we would like to see on the Nintendo Switch and on the Nintendo Switch 2. So anyways, let's talk about it. With retro gaming, we actually got Virtual Console, which was for the Nintendo DSi, the original Wii, and the Nintendo 3DS, and the Wii U, and so on, which was called the Virtual Console, and they released like retro emulators such as the NES, the Super NES, the Nintendo 64, the Nintendo GameCube, and also Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, and so on. So the Virtual Console was one of the best retro emulators that was released for the Nintendo DSi, the original Wii, the Nintendo 3DS, the Wii U, and so on. But the Nintendo Switch does not have Virtual Console. It only has Nintendo Classics, which is kind of like the Virtual Console though. But it is for Nintendo Switch Online though, which means you have access to play the NES, the Game Boy, the Super Nintendo, and also the N64, and the Sega Genesis, and the Virtual Boy, and also the Nintendo GameCube if you have a Nintendo Switch 2, because the Nintendo GameCube is only playable on the Switch 2 if you have one. So, anyways, one retro game I would like to see on the Nintendo Switch 2, I'm gonna say. So we've got GameCube games already, and we have Pokemon. We have a new Pokemon game coming out on the Nintendo GameCube for the Switch 2. I know a lot of people are saying that Mario Kart Double Dash is one of the best Nintendo GameCube games to ever see. Now, I want to see Mario Kart Double Dash on the Nintendo GameCube because you can actually play two characters at once, which makes a lot of sense though. But also, Mario Kart Double Dash also features two players that you can actually play as, like Mario and Luigi, and also like Yoshi and Birdo, and so on. And there's also Super Mario Sunshine, which was already in Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which is what I want to see, possibly for the Nintendo GameCube, for the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, there's more titles that will possibly be added in the future, updates for Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Classics, and there's also Virtual Boy, which means the Virtual Boy was only active for a little while, but then Nintendo discontinued the Virtual Boy in 1996 because the Virtual Boy was a failure, a complete failure, and also the Wii U was one of the best consoles, but Nintendo said it was a failed console, the Wii U, and they had to move on to the Nintendo Switch and on the Nintendo 3DS. The Nintendo 3DS was a success, but then back in 2020, Nintendo discontinued the 3DS. That means the Nintendo 3DS was one of the best handheld consoles that they've released, like way back in 2011, because they have decided to move on to their DS generation in 2004, and then in 2011, they moved on to something amazing that they've blown their mind. They were blowing their mind with the Nintendo 3DS, which was way back in 2011, the old 3DS that they've released, and then we have the new 3DS, which was released back in 2015. So by far though, the Virtual Console was introduced way back when the Nintendo DSi was released, but also the original Wii as well though. So the original Wii was also released in 2006, but the Virtual Console was announced and released way back in 2006 with gaming platforms, because the Virtual Console is like a retro emulator that you can play, such as the NES, the Super NES, the Nintendo 64, and so on. But also, Nintendo has like the Virtual Console for the Wii U. Like, you can just do like NES, Super NES, Nintendo 64, the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and the Nintendo GameCube, the original Wii, and so on. Now, these games do support backwards compatibility with the Wii U, but also the Nintendo 3DS the new Nintendo 3DS XL supports Nintendo DS games backwards compatibility as long as with the 3DS games that are playable on the old 3DS models. They do support backwards compatibility, but also the Nintendo Switch 2 also supports Nintendo Switch 1 games with backwards compatibility. So I think the Virtual Console was a nostalgia, and it ended way back in 2023 when they had to close down the Wii U and the 3DS eShops. But luckily Nintendo released, I mean, no, not Nintendo. I think there's a homebrew app that you can actually get for your Wii U. It's called Nuspill. I think that's what the app is called, yes. So basically what this is about, though, it's like okay, let me think again. So it's like a Nintendo eShop app, but basically what Nuspill is about on the Wii U is you can actually get free games on Nuspill. It's kind of like HShop, though, basically. But speaking of that, HShop is also a modded app for your 3DS. I mean, Nuspill is a modded app like HShop on your Wii U, but HShop is where you can actually get free 3DS games, free themes from the Nintendo 3DS, and also free Virtual Console games that you can actually get for your 3DS. But there's also, you can actually mod and homebrew every Nintendo console, like the Nintendo DSi, the original Wii, the Nintendo 3DS, the Wii U, the Nintendo Switch, and so on. But I don't think you can homebrew or mod a Nintendo Switch 2. But if you guys can look this up for me, then keep me updated and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Was the Virtual Console a nostalgia and a throwback? I think so, to be honest, because it's like having a retro emulator on your Wii, Nintendo DSi, the original Nintendo 3DS, and the Wii U, and so on. I wish the Virtual Console was on the Nintendo Switch, but instead, Nintendo releases retro games on Nintendo Switch Online. So, anyways, which one do I like more? The Virtual Console or Nintendo Switch Online? Since you gotta pay every month or a year for a Nintendo Switch Online membership, then there is Nintendo Classics. But the Virtual Console is more of my childhood, basically. Because the Virtual Console reminds me of retro emulators. It does look a lot like retro emulators to me, though, definitely. That's what I would recommend, the Virtual Console, if you mod your Wii U or your 3DS or your original Wii or either your Nintendo DSi. Plus, the original Nintendo DS does not accept homebrew or modding an original Nintendo DS. It's only the Nintendo DSi, basically. So, anyways, I think this video is going to wrap it up here for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment, share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you guys are new to this channel. I do look forward to seeing you guys again. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace!